Now let's look at the tool Configure Business Rules. You need to search it in the search bar and you need to type Configure Business Rules. You can click on this Configure Business Rules. Once you click on this tool will open, this which says Business Rules Admin. It will show you all the business rules which are available as on date on April 29, 2021. So I can say, so these are the all business rules which are available. I can search by name here. So suppose right now it is showing me some random rules. So I will search say job. It will show me all the rules which are available for the with the name called jobs, like autofill job info fields, comp eligibility, job classifications. You can search it by scenario, you can search it by last modified by, you can search it by rule type, and you can search it by base object. And there are additional settings available here on the where you can actually search it by created by, description, last modified by, and start date of the rule. To You can export this whole sheet in an Excel, and you can export it is in an Excel sheet. If you want to, you can select a rule and you can delete it from here directly, and you can also add a rule from here. So let's add a new rule. So the purpose is right now, so let's look at the scenario first. Let's look at any employee, Adam Jacek. And let's look at his personal information. So here this preferred name, I'm just deleting this preferred name. It's not a mandatory field. Since this is not a mandatory field, it will save the record. So you can see that I will say proceed. There are some warnings which are coming, and this is will hit a workflow because it is a person name change request. So it is hitting a workflow. Let me just approve this workflow. Tessa Walker, and I will go to approve requests. And I will simply approve this request. Okay, so now since this is approved, I will go back to the record and I will see my scenario. I will say Adam. So this is Adam Jacek Novak. So for example, for him right now, if you see, the preferred name is blank. So I want this, so anytime whenever I am making changes, without this preferred name should populate as his first name. If it is blank, it should populate his first name. Always it should populate as a first name, because this field is not maintained by my client. So they just want anybody whose preferred name is blank should be maintained as first name. So let's write a rule for this one. So I will go to business administration tool, business rules admin tool. I will say create a new rule. And to create a new rule, you can see there are different categories of rule which you can create. So you can create time management, rewards and recognition, position management rules, etc. etc. Right now I'm interested in creating a basic rule, so I will say create a rule. I will select basic rule and I will give here, for example, preferred name underscore first name, so that it makes sense to me. Preferred name underscore I will give some start date. I am not using rule type, but you want to use rule types, you can use the rule type. You can define it whether it is a data change rule, or it is a default rule, or you can create your own pick list in the rule type. To create a pick list, you can go to pick list center here. I will show you where you can create your own pick list. So you can go to pick list center, and in pick list center you can search for rule type. So this is the pick list values for rule type which is maintained. So you can see the latest one is, there are different versions, there are 9 versions of it. So you can see the latest one is January 1 2040. So these are the values which are maintained there. You can add a value if you want, but or you can skip it if you want, but it is a good practice to maintain the rule type. However, if you do not want, you can skip it. So if in the base object, I will, so if you see the base object, there are different base objects available here. So the for us the main are there are since we saw that preferred name is on the personal information, so the personal information is the base object type for this. So there are, you see personal information and personal information model. What is the difference between the model object and the normal one is that the model you can compare the values, whereas in the personal information you cannot compare the values, it will show the latest values. So let's see this first. So let's go to the personal information. I say continue. When you look at this and you can go to the, for example, marital status, it is showing the existing values external code. It is not showing any previous value or anything else. Whereas if I just cancel this and I create another rule, I say basic rule. For name underscore first name, and I go to personal information model. And I just open the if condition and I just open, for example, event date. It gives me previous value as well as the current value. So here you can do the comparison. But for this rule, we are actually looking at the current value. So I will not use the personal information model. I will use the personal information preferred underscore name underscore first underscore name, and I will give object type as personal information. I will say continue, and you can actually define, you can search for the preferred name here. So this is the preferred name. So I will say prefer, if preferred name is equal to null, then add it. So there are different options. You can set a value, you can raise a message, you can create a value, you can delete a value, you can execute something, and you can add to something. But most commonly used are set and raise messages as well as delete. But delete is also not that common. Set and raise is very much common while using the business rules admin tool. So I will say set, I will say preferred language, sorry, preferred name, is equal to first name, personal information first name. Okay, and I will save this. Now my rule is ready. Now I want this rule to be executed. So to trigger this rule, you have to assign it to the manage business configuration. So you will go to manage business configuration. You will, and in manage business configuration, you know the section, right? So will have to go to personal information here. In personal information, you can go to trigger rules. So this is the section where you have to come here. It is already having personal information selected as a base object. So you will select the base object here. I will say on save here. I will type my rule name here, preferred name, first name, last name, and I will say yes, it is enabled, and I will save this record. Now to check this message, now I will come here and I will go to personal information of Adam Jacek. I will click on change and I will change something, say maybe Adam 1. I will make his first name as Adam 1 and I will just save this record. It will hit a workflow and this workflow is going to Tessa Walker again. I will say confirm, and when I say confirm, I will have to proxy as Tessa Walker here. I will say OK. I will go to business approve request. And I will approve this. I will go back to JSEC. Let me go to JSEC, Adam JSEC Novak. So his name is changed to Adam1 JSEC Novak, and let's look at his preferred name. So the preferred name has populated as Adam1 because I have given the conditions in the rule that if it is equal to null, then please set the condition as preferred name is equal to the first name. So this is how it is being set up here in the people profile now. So once this is set up, now I want to, so this is how the set rules work. Now I will show you one example of a warning message or an error message in fact. So let me go to manage business configuration and let me disable this rule. I will say no. And let me work on the another rule here meanwhile. So once it is saved, we will see how the other rule with the message is created. So we will just go here and we will say create new rule. Create new rule, again basic rule, and I will just say preferred underscore name underscore error. Okay, and I will give here what should be the base object, personal information model. Okay, So here I will select that if preferred name previous value is not equal to preferred name current value, then add it. I will select raise message. So now I have to define a message. So to define a message, I will just go to another window and I will say manage data. In manage data, there is something called message definition. Message definition. So this is where your all messages are defined. You can see these are the messages which are defined already. Let's look at one message here. So this is the external code, this is the text, this is the name and then active, and then there is a string also which is defined here. And so let's work on the our message here. So we will define a message definition, and I will define a message, say please enter the correct preferred name, or I can say please attach the documents. I can say please attach the documents with name change, and I will just say preferred underscore name, preferred name, preferred name, and I will save this record. Please attach the documents with name change. So now we will go back to our configure business definition. Here we will say preferred name, and I will enter the error severity, information, warning, and error message. So you can enter an information message, you can enter a warning message, or you can enter an error message. So we have decided that this we will be entering the error message. So I will select error and I will save this record. And I will just use this preferred name error and I will attach it to the manage business configuration rule. I will select the base object as personal information model, on save, and I will give the rule name here, say yes here, and then save it. Once it is saved, now we will go to people profile. Now you can see the preferred name is Adam1 here. So I am going and editing his profile again, and I am trying to make changes to the preferred name. Instead of Adam1, I will try to make him Adam. So I am just making it Adam here, and I will try to save this value. So if you see, it is giving me error. So it is saying error. The first is error, please attach the documents with the name change. So this is a warning message which was coming because the gender does not match the gender encoded in the national ID for this. So if the gender is, if I will make it male, say female, and I will try to save this record, it will give me the simply error message, please attach the documents with the name change. Okay, so this is how the error message is configured. Now if I want to make to go to the rule, I will just simply go and make correction, and I will change the severity from error to warning, and I will save this record. I will go to people profile again and I will try to save it here. It will give me a warning message. Please attach the documents with the name change. I can proceed it and now I can correct it. So I'm choosing correct, and then I will go again in the configure business rules. I will go take action, make correction. I will go to the information. I will just save this record again, and I will try to save here one more time. It will give an information message. So let's just cancel this. 1 minute. Let me go one more time and just one. So it is giving us the information message. Please attach the documents with the name change. And this warning message is generated for the first row. It is giving the warning message. For the second, it is giving me the information message here. I can proceed it and I can save this record. Okay, so I'm not saving it, I'm just canceling it. This is just to show you. So this is how the on save rule works. Similarly, on the business configuration, you can define the on INIT rule as well. So suppose if you want to hide some fields, so let's look at this rule. So if you see this rule, so if it is saying if the login user is Amelia Ruiz, then please hide these information like challenge status visibility is equal to null, and then personal information certificate and date is equal to none, and start date is equal to none. Else if it is Bestron DE1710, then all this should be hidden. If it is UK, then login language script should be hidden. So for 1710 you will not see all these information in the personal information. So let's proxy as Amelia Ruiz and let's see if you can see challenge status field. But this is working only on employee information. So there are two type of there is another type of base object which is like employee information that works on your manage pending hire or new hire screen. So I will come to that when we will be doing the new hire. So when you add a new hire, at that time, if you want to introduce a rule, you will always choose employee information. So if you go to manage business configuration here and take action, make correction, you can see everywhere this employee information is always added, employee information and every employee information model, and then personal information and personal information model. Similarly, if you go to compensation information, in compensation information also you will see employee information and employee information model, because the rules which you want to write on the compensation information during the new hire screen, during the new hires or manage pending hire, you will choose the employee information model. Same with the job information. If you come to job information, there also you will see the employee information model. Job information, here employee information model. So main main objects which you use are basically, so in the parameters you can add more objects. So but the main which you use is the job information. You can take a note of this job information model, job information model. So job information model. Then you use compensation, comp information model for making the changes to the compensation. Compensation related rules, you will write it in the compensation information and compensation information model as well as in the compensation. And then job relationships, you will write it in job relationship, and job relationships model. Then personal information, you are aware of personal and personal information model. Then similarly you have um, national ID, national ID information and national ID information model. So these are the some, but you cannot write a rule on contact. You cannot write a rule on contact details. So this is what you have to remember, but you can write it on the phone information. Phone information, you can write it on phone information and phone information model. Similarly, email information and email information model. Likewise, you will use these different base object for creating a rule related to the different blocks in Employee Central. I hope you are clear on how to create a business rules. We will let us see one more thing here in manage business configuration. There are some on change rules which you can create on the fields. So right now I'm just displaying it. The rule definition will remain same. However, you will while assigning the rule, you will come to that particular field. For example, if you are defining a rule related to the company, so you will come here and you will define it on below here in the trigger rules here, and you will select the job base job object base object, and then you will select the rule type as on change, and you will give the rule name enabled as yes, and then done. So let's look at this rule. So this is saying auto populate time fields. So when there is a position, when there is a legal entity which is changing, so it is saying when there is a time recording variant is equal to duration, and the time recording profile is not equal to only absences, then set these fields. So likewise, you can set these rules. I'm not going into detail of this rule right now, but similarly, you can write a rule and you can set it on change rule. So whenever there is a change on the particular field, this rule will be triggered. So similarly, let's look at the position. So in the position also, you can see that there is a rule to position to job propagation, new hire, employment fields. So this is the rule which is actually uh, populating fields. So if it is a new hire, then the employee class value should be active, salaried, and salaried staff. So this is how this rule is being set up here. So likewise, you can set up the different rules and you can set it up on change rule, on save rule, on IIT rule, and on view rule. So we have seen on INIT, on save, on change, and there is on view. I don't see any on view rule. Let us see. Mm, so in the home address also you can define the rules. So I think it will be cumbersome to search this. These are also on save. So similarly, you can define the on view rule. So those rules will be available whenever you are trying to view that information. and whenever you are trying to whenever the page is loading, at that time the on INIT rule will be applicable. When you are saving it, it will on save rule will be applicable. Okay, so this is all about the configure business rules admin, basically configure business rules. Thank you.